We need to talk about Severance. Have you guys been watching Severance? It's actually insane. Trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with this show, what they're up to, what is Lumon Industries doing, and I have some theories. Most of them are from Reddit because I'm not smart enough, but I do have a kind of interesting connection to make with it, only because it's my favorite movie, and I realize this is why I like the show so much. What Lumon Industries is doing and what the procedure in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is pretty similar when you think about it, and in a sense it explains what I think the MDR team, the macro data refinement team, is up to down on the severed floor. They are dealing with the minds of the people that are severed, and they're categorizing all the different parts, the four tempers. They're creating the innies, basically. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, it had the same procedure being done to these people, but it was taken a step further in Lumon, where they essentially created an entire identity from that person who now lacked these memories that they just took. In Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, it was done for a more simpler reason. It was to forget about one specific thing, just not remember whatever traumatic event or whatever relationship or whatever heartbreak they experienced. They don't remember it anymore. They've erased it. The idea of memory manipulation, it's showing what can you do if you take a person and you take their memories away from them solely for the purpose of increasing, work and productivity, right? You're not thinking about whatever is affecting your life. How can you think about it if you don't know it? You're left with this idea that you are bettering yourself by having this time where you forget things. For Lumon, like I said, they took it one step further and they created an entire new person lacking specific memories. These are basically just fucking clones, bro. So now moving on to just theories, right? So obviously Lumon, on the surface, they're gonna act like, oh yeah, this is just a procedure that will take place and it will only happen during work. But we're shown that that's not true when you know that they have this overtime button they can press and then immediately turn your innie on whenever they want. So the idea of it only being for work that they make you an innie is a temporary promise and an idea that gets you to trust them and believe that, hey, yeah, this is appealing. So my angle that I think they're taking it is that they are making fucking war criminals up there, or down there. I keep forgetting they're down there. They're down there. What more do you need complicity in than soldiers? You need soldiers to be complicit. You need them to follow orders. You need them to carry through and defeat the enemy. It's human nature to not want to fucking shoot a random person and kill them, right? Okay? Especially when what you are fighting for isn't meant to be fought for, and you as a person can become aware of that. And you realize, why am I fighting this fight? What am I doing? And that's what I think Lumon is doing. They are taking these innies and they're getting them to the point where they can be complicit enough to go through and complete orders that are war crimes. Maybe it's just the state of the world today that's like making me think that way. There's another angle of it that is a more sexual angle, because they kind of hinted on this in the show as well. If you watched on the news when Mark was just like casually watching TV and getting drunk, there was a news report talking about Lumon and just the controversy over it, and one of the things that they said in the newscast was that there was a worker, a Lumon employee, who got pregnant while she was an innie. What else could you do with an innie? They won't remember when they leave work. That is an exploitative heaven for the sex industry. You can just get people. But yeah, they could literally have these innies as just escorts. I do have one theory with Irving though. Irving is my favorite character, I will say that. I think that he is some kind of like special op. Oh, my poor Navy man. My poor Navy man. He was in the Navy, so he has connection to the forces and the military, and he has some kind of fucking... I feel so bad for him. Mainly because his Audi form is just crazy. Literally just crazy, just painting this hallway of the place he works. He's the one that realized Helly was an Audi.
What you said to me last night, it was cruel. Helly was never cruel. Cut it out! Stop! She's been an Audi the whole time! She's not Helly! She's an Egan! Turn her back, Mr. Milkshake! Turn her back!
God damn it, stop doing!
Yes! Do it, Seth!
He's the one that just catches on to things. He realizes things, but he also is the one that wants to follow the rules at first.
Mark? Yeah?
Were you about to bed sit?
No. No.
Irving, I'm watching him because he's a Navy man and I love him. Anyways, let's get into the Reddit theories now. Reddit theories are crazy. I will link them all below. First one I saw was that the goats, they're using the goat brains and they're basically gonna take the brains of the goats and use those brains to put the chips of the severed employees that have died, like PD, and put them into those brains and then use that, and all the data inside the chip goes into the brain, because I guess a goat brain is similar to a human brain. Basically, they have eternal clones. That one is so weird to me. I definitely think they're I don't know. I agree more with the theory that the goats were what they were experimenting on first with the severed chips and like doing all this stuff. I think they were the test subjects, and why they still have them, I don't know. A theory that I think is important is the four tempers relating to the four workers. So we're introduced to the four tempers as frolic, dread, malice, and woe. They're also categorized into four different colors, woe being green, frolic being yellow, dread being red, and malice being blue. The numbers that we see the microdata refinement people sorting are divided into these four tempers. This theory is basically that the macro data refinement is categorizing the human mind so that they can replicate it and breed employees. They're definitely creating soldiers. Like they're creating, that's why they have this whole thing with expansion. This theory bothers me because, again, like I said, Irving's one of my favorite characters, but this theory is that Bert is the mastermind and he's tricking Irving into like working with him and liking him and being on his side. I don't want this to be real. I really don't, because Bert and Irving have like the cutest relationship, and also, fun fact, they are friends IRL. MDR is enabling and enforcing the severed state of the individual. So they're personally like doing the severing as they're sitting there, because it makes sense that, you know, taking the four tempers, dividing them up to where they belong. I think that the whole shit going on with Miss Cobell and her being Mrs. Selvig, this theory is that they're purposely doing this to see if the chip can be broken and if, like, how far they can go. Same with having Mark's dead wife working with him, like being his fucking therapist, his literal neighbor working with his sister, doing like the relations that they have with the Audis is so strange because the Indies have no fucking idea. Miss Cobell's whole thing was to see like how far this can be pushed, but for why? There was a theory that she was doing it for her own reasons because she has a family member that is severed that she wants to remember her, but they won't remember her because they're severed, so that's why she's testing it with Mark to see if he'll remember his wife in front of him, because if they can get it to where he can remember, then she can maybe remember. That's why she was visibly like fucking distraught when things weren't going to plan and everything was coming undone. This theory, I kind of believe it's that Irving used to be Milchick and his position in season 1 where he was like Miss Cobell's little little guy. Now it's Miss Swan, the little kid, which is really fucking strange. But I do like the idea that he used to be Milchick's position, because he does question Milchick a lot.
You're all just gonna stand here and let him die?
Bert's Audi is retiring. It'll happen to you too someday.
You smug motherfucker. You're not severed. You walk out of here with your memories. You carry them home with you every night. No one can rip them away from you, snuff them out, like they never existed. Like you never existed! That's enough!
The episode where he's like, you're not an out, you're not an innie, you go home and you have your feelings, like you're a fraud. He knows. And that's why he can paint the door, because he's like forcing his Audi to remember it. Back to the 4 tempers going along with the 4 characters. So there was a couple different theories as to who belonged to what temper, but I like this theory the most because they connected it with the first lines that each character said. And I really like that because the first lines of a character can really depict who they are as a person. So this theory thinks that Mark is dread, Helly is woe, Dylan is malice, and Irving is frolic. And this is concluded by the first lines that they said in the show.
Who are you?
Hi kids, what's for dinner?
Let me out!
If you breathe on me, I'll rip your larynx out.
I think they definitely depict the 4 tempers, and you see it obviously throughout the show more and more. It also makes the most sense that Helly is woe because her life as an Audi is the most luxurious. She is literally part of the Egan family, so of course her innie is gonna be the most fucking sad out of all of them because it's the most different of a reality, the 180 of it. She's not used to being a little pawn to follow orders, she's used to being the one to give the fucking order. Mark obviously is dread because of his wife dying. Dylan is malice, I think, because he on the outside is just a fucking everyday guy, kind of just struggling, can't keep a job, has a big family, a wife that seems very disinterested in him. It just, of course, he's gonna have malice. He has internal anger of just not amounting to anything. Irving is frolic because he's a Navy man, duh. He sailed the sea. He has that I will follow orders, but also I will follow the right orders. This theory is that Severance is going to turn humanity into dust. And I think this goes along with the idea that they're basically gonna get it to the point where you won't need an Audi. You just need innies. You literally just need these chip created people. There's no reason to have an Audi anymore. 2 quotes were taken. One from Natalie's speech during the little banquet that they had. She said that Lumon was doing a kind of revolution that puts humans at the center of the industry. But in the UUR book, it says, at the center of the industry is dust.
At the center of industry is dust.
If they're putting humans at the center, but the center of the industry is dust, they're getting rid of fucking humanity. We don't need humanity when you have innies. Because it does play with the idea, AI is such a concept right now, virtual realities and just escaping real life. That's basically what the innies are doing. Eventually the innies will become complacent enough to where they never have to be Audis again, and they wouldn't even tell the difference. That's why what the macro data refinement people are doing is so important, because they, through separating all the tempers and numbers and stuff, they create further separation from the innies and outies. They're literally doing it to themselves without even realizing it. They're creating an entire reality of innies, and then they're just saying bye-bye to the outies. Bye-bye outies, who needs real life when you can just be a innie for Lumon forever? How much do you think these fuckers are getting paid? Like, it would have to be a pretty decent, substantial amount of money for me to work somewhere where they'd be like, hey, by the way, we're gonna sever your brain, put a chip in you, and when you come to work here, you won't remember any of it from 9 to 5. Like, to me, it doesn't seem appealing because I'm like, what do you mean? That's the video. I feel like it was all over the place because I genuinely don't understand the show still. Like I'm intrigued by it, but I don't know what the fuck is happening. Oh, I don't know, just things that kind of shook me when Helly hung herself. Guys, can we just talk about that? Like, I know that was the most traumatic part of the show so far.
I'm gonna go. See you soon.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Yeah? Seems like you're getting the hang of stuff here. Cool.
Jesus.
Help! God. She okay?
Get in the elevator!
She okay? Judd,
Mr. Scout, you have a good evening.
will do. Same to you.
That's what initially made me start thinking, oh my god, it's not about forgetting what your Audi's life is. It's about forgetting what the innies have to do. Mark left work that day, back into his Audi form. He had no fucking idea that 2 seconds prior to that, he was lifting a fucking girl's dangling body off of an elevator shaft when he went up. What the fuck else could they have them doing that they just could bop? Now you don't remember. Bop, bop, bop. What is this shit with the teeth? And so many questions, but it's fun to talk about theories. Thank you guys for watching. Comment down below who your favorite innie is. Mine is Irving.
Okay, kids. Let's find out what's for dinner.
Boy.